Hello everyone, welcome back. I don't have a whole lot to show you this week, but I would think I can actually feature something interesting that you'll get something out of. I have, of course, first started up the park and gotten this transport ride going, which leads to a park entrance and a gate off to the side that you will never be able to see. It takes guests to and from that entrance and then drops them off at the park entrance. And so far there have been a couple of hiccups, but overall it still actually kind of works. So if you don't know what's going on here, basically this is just a very simple park setup with a bit of a switchback queue. It's currently running 3 trains. It's, even with that, quite expensive as far as energy is concerned to run, but I think it's worth it for the aesthetic, to be honest. And also, I have the cash, so for now it's a decent choice. Something you will need to note is that you need to constantly keep your staff taking care of everything. So if you're playing with normal management rules on, then you need to have extra staff for whatever purpose they're doing back there. So you need an extra ride operator, 2 mechanics for whenever one is in the rest facility, stuff like that. Now we'll get to the main attraction. This over here is the New Age arcade. It is my first arcade that I've actually built in-game, and it's using the deco formula. So it's got that 20s and 30s aesthetic for the exterior, and it combines a lot of that on the interior as well. So let's go have a look-see inside, and I'll show you what's going on in here. I did use some pieces from other creators. When I eventually get a menu going, I'm going to credit them by naming some of the pieces after them so that you kind of have a point of reference for where I got certain ideas from. Same goes for the art on the walls. I didn't have time to put all this together. I'm trying to save as much time as possible before I need to go back to the 2-week challenge. You've seen me use this trick before. These are gift shop shelves that I have stuck a place down underneath for. It's closed. You can never access this thing, and yet despite that, if you so much as hook up certain pieces, it'll populate them and you can change how they look. So instead of having, I don't know, 24 pieces per shelf, I have 1 which is much better. Besides that, we've got these sunburst decals everywhere, nice little chandeliers too. They liven up the place quite a bit, and specifically these gridded pieces too, I see in this type of architecture all the time. I've painted some houses that are like this, and they're an absolute pain in the butt, but the end product is always so very cool. Using neon as little insets for this too just goes such a long way. Of course, any establishment like this isn't complete without a little soda fountain, so this is just something small that I put together so that it could sell the whole aesthetic. You could refill your soda if you wanted to as well. A lot of these are from Josh. I feel like most creators and most people that are familiar with any of the arcade stuff on the workshop will know that a lot of this stuff is from one creator that spent basically all of his time making accurate arcade machines and pool tables. And so I just went to the liberty of using a lot of them. So all of the non-functional pieces in here are from Josh, except for one, which is Tagi's pinball machine, because how could I not? It's so beautifully well lit, and he really did a great job with this. As for the arcade floor itself, it's got that subtle lighting from above, and it kind of follows the 2 rows that are going on here. They're a little staggered because all of these pieces on the right side, the midway-esque games, I guess I'll call them, aren't necessarily the same width. And if you actually go to an arcade, it's never cut and dry, so having it with this unique layout is kind of what makes it very interesting looking, so that it's not just the arcade cabinets, of which I made a couple duplicates because I wanted to genuinely see the guests enjoying all of these new arcade cabinets we got from Atari. And thankfully, Frontier has done such a good job with them in game, because all of the shapes and the amount of polys that they put into this thing, and even the artwork, it's so expertly done. Besides that, I'm pretty sure you've seen the whole thing at this point. You may have noticed a little something in the corner, and we're not going to focus too much on it because like it's a bit of an afterthought, but if you put an electrical outlet on the side of a wall and you attach some of those cords next to it, scale them down so that they actually match up to the cabinet, then this is the result. It looks like everything's actually kind of plugged into the wall. I thought about getting an extension or a surge protector, and I'm clearly not done with this building yet. I'm very close, but there's a couple things that I still have left to do on it, but it's in a state where I want to show you what I have. I can also show you some things that I learned from working on this. Also, that pizza actually kind of looks good. So when I'm building anything like this, I build in very intelligent groups. So you can see I have all of this segmented off where the doorway is, but it's all on the same level. I see a lot of people build without using groups, and that is just giving you more of a headache than you even know is worth. So this whole band is its own group. This whole band is its own group. This whole band, guess what? It's its own group. You need to be grouping your items, because whenever you're doing something like this, and you're wondering, I don't quite like the way that color looks. Instead of recoloring 200 pieces, it is just better to recolor 2 groups. I think that makes sense, right? So what's the process for this? Well, let's say I'm adding something new, like this pillar. Maybe I want to give some fluorescence to it. And I can set it on like the inside, and maybe you can see a little bit of it. I don't know how the LOD is going to treat this, but we're just doing this for the sake of creativity. This button down here, create new group, when you're in multi-select, click that. And then whenever you're working inside, you can recolor any or all of this however you want. The downside to this is that when you have 2 different types of things that need recoloring by themselves, it can be a little tricky. Let me quickly show you how you can accomplish recoloring certain things within a group. So let me find you an example. Right, this piece here has 2 different colors on it. Let's say I go into the group and I want to make this all the same color. I would take this color just by clicking its palette and then drag it all the way over, and then I can set it to each of these 3 things, and voila, it's all the same color. But maybe I don't want that. That is what would happen if I just tried to recolor everything. And you can even do this from a screen that's not necessarily in the group too. So if you just click on a scenery group that has a whole bunch of colors and you try to recolor it, that's the result. But let's say I want to alternate all of these pieces as different colors. What would I do then? Let's say we only want to change out the resort box and their accompanying lights. So if I want to alternate each other being a different color, here's what I would do. I would select these, and then I would select these, deselect these particular girders, and if I get my camera in just the right spot, I can deselect. I'm holding control here so that I can deselect en masse. And now what I can do, say I want to make these green, and I'm only going to hue shift here so that they keep their same intensity of light. There we go. I've done exactly what I wanted. It can be a little challenging sometimes when you want to do something like this, and it turns out it's more than you bargained for. But this is just a little example of what you can do when you're grouping items, and even though you have different colors in the group, you can still recolor some and achieve the color and look that you're going for. One step further you could do is you could just have a bunch of little groups dependent on the color that you want, and then at the very end when you're ready, you can group certain objects together to make them easy to move around. This is what I would advise you to do as well. Although there are multiple ways of going about this, and it really depends on what you're trying to do as far as your build is concerned. Pretty soon I should have this on the workshop and it's all ready to go. It's for Frontier's recent Go Retro challenge, and I decided to just combine a couple of different themes together to make a very interesting package all around. Well, besides all that, I don't really have much else to show you because I've been slogging away at this one arcade for so long, but it should be done very soon, and I should have more interesting stuff to show you from the 2-week challenge, which, if you haven't caught up with that, Winder and Relimitep just put out a new video about hours, even today, as I'm recording this, So if you want to get caught up, I'll leave a link in the video description. And yeah, that's it. Have a good one. That's an order. Follow a good soldier. I'm gonna go sneeze my brains out. Bye.